All right, everyone, thank you for your patience. We're going to go ahead and get started here today. And thank you again for joining us. Today's webinar is part of the Green Tech Renewables training series. We're very excited to be hosting today's event with our partner IronRidge on a very timely topic for the solar industry. Next slide, please. So before getting started, some very quick housekeeping. Product sheets and additional information are accessible through GoToWebinar in the handouts section. We will have a Q&A portion toward the end of today's event, and to participate, please submit your questions through the GoToWebinar questions section. And note that a recording will be sent to all registrants. Next slide, please. So to quickly introduce Green Tech Renewables, we are the nation's leading solar equipment distributor with over 80 locations nationwide. We carry the leading solar, electrical, energy storage, and EV charging brands to support your installation business. Prior to September 1st, you knew us as CED Green Tech. We rebranded to Green Tech Renewables to emphasize our focused commitment to leadership in the renewables industry. We continue to operate as a division of CED, affording us unique scale and stability as we support our customers in a rapidly growing and changing industry. Please visit our website at greentechrenewables.com to view a map of all of our locations and to get in touch with a location near you. With our numerous stocking locations nationwide, our fleet of trucks rolling daily, our commitment to service, integrity, and reliability, and an unmatched service offering, there is no better partner in solar than Green Tech Renewables. Thank you. Next slide, please. So great, as we mentioned, today we're going to be talking through the current and growing labor shortage that the solar industry is experiencing. We'll unpack some of the contributing reasons, share some solutions that we've created that will help manage the situation in the short term and hopefully effectuate a long-term solution. We have an incredible panel of speakers today. First, we have Sue Stark. Sue owned and operated a multi-state construction equipment supply house from the mid-80s until 2010. She began her career in solar by managing the startup of East Coast Alternative Energy and grew the company to $3 million in revenue in the first 2 years. She then began her PV training career by becoming NABCEP certified and joining the training team at QuickMount PV in 2014. Now senior manager of training at IronRidge, she provides technical sales and training support to installers and distribution partners. She and her wife Kate are adventure junkies that love to sea kayak and ride motorcycles in remote locations, most recently in Kyrgyzstan and the Scottish Highlands. With Sue today is our colleague Spencer Wright, training development manager for IronRidge. Spencer started his solar career over 13 years ago as a warehouse clerk at Infinite Solar in Philadelphia and was then hired at Zepp Solar as East Coast technical trainer. Spencer quickly rose through the ranks and piloted a quality assurance and quality control program during his time there. When Zepp was acquired by SolarCity, Spencer traveled the country, becoming one of the best QA/QC experts for residential solar in the United States. After many years with SolarCity, Spencer struck out on his own and formed the for-profit company Harness the Sun in New Jersey to reconnect with his roots and to train disadvantaged youth and adults how to install solar. Spencer recently celebrated his 1-year anniversary as the training development manager for IronRidge. And finally, joining us is Sam Steyer, founder and CEO of Greenwork, a software startup helping clean energy companies build their construction teams, both by adding new employees and by partnering with local specialty contractors. Before Greenwork, Sam worked on his dad Tom Steyer's 2020 presidential campaign and was a co-founder and the head of analytics at Station A. Sam lives in San Francisco with his wife and son, where he's a proud member of the San Francisco Fire Reserve. Thank you very much for joining us today, Sue, Spencer, and Sam. And I'll turn over the mic to Sue.
Thanks, Tom. So according to the 2018 National Solar Job Census, 33% of solar companies found it very difficult to locate talent for installs and project development. So if you've been feeling the pinch, you are not alone. This is a topic that's been scrutinized by experts in labor and construction for years. And it's sort of a perfect storm of contributing factors that have brought us to where we are today. What's happening in solar is also happening in adjacent fields. So we'll be talking broadly about skilled trades like electricians and carpenters, as well as solar installers. And in fact, this actually makes the hill steeper because there are several sectors all targeting the same shrinking talent pool. So let's dig into these causes a bit. I'm going to set our Wayback Machine here for 1963, and that's a bit before my time, so I'm going to turn it over to Spencer here.
Thanks, Sue. Next slide. So here we see a pretty typical high school shop class. In fact, nearly every high school offered some kind of vocational training that served as a pipeline to apprenticeship programs and careers in the trades. At that time, only 7% of graduates went to college. Most went into manufacturing or skilled trades, became mechanics, or worked in hospitality and retail. The Vocational Act of 1963 provided states with federal funds to support technical training and job preparation tracks for students interested in skilled trades. This helped fill the pipeline in the US with carpenters and electricians and welders for decades. Let's move forward in time to the 21st century. The standards and accountability movement was taking hold in public education. States had begun to write academic standards or goals for what students should learn. In 2001, Congress passed the No Child Left Behind Act. That law required states, in exchange for federal educating funds, to test their students every year and to ensure that all students would eventually be proficient in math and reading. Then in 2009, Common Core curriculum was launched and began to squeeze out CTE. There wasn't room in the day for shop or drafting or other career track courses, and funding was pulled for them. So states had to pay out of pocket to provide them. High school counselors were pushing students to enroll in college and embrace computer-based careers. So now we have fewer young people prepared and equipped to move into skilled trades through our public education system. And there are a couple other events that got us where we are today. I'll let Sue explain.
It's hard to believe it's already been 14 years, but remember the Great Recession? It involved a global economic turndown and had a negative effect on world markets, the banking industry, and the housing market. This financial crisis led to a huge increase in home mortgage foreclosures in the United States and around the world, and millions of people lost their life savings, their jobs, and their homes. 30 million in the US alone, 1.5 million of those jobs were in the trades. I know because I was selling tools to the trades at that time, and the recovery took years, meaning that those who were in construction or other trades had to retool themselves and find another career. Only about 600,000 of those jobs have returned. Another contributor to the labor crunch is the march of time. People retire. In the case of electricians, which we know are all in short supply, the number of new entries into the field is far less than the number who retire. Similar stats are available in carpentry and other trades, and the average age of a carpenter apprentice is 27 years old, and it should be around 19.
Next slide, please. In the past, robust immigration helped backfill a shrinking and graying workforce. According to Goldman Sachs, the US labor force has grown by almost 30% since 1990, and immigrants account for about half of the net increase. Furthermore, out of all major occupations, construction and extraction has the highest number of foreign-born workers. But in the past 30 years, immigration has become highly politicized. and subject to the whims of various administrations, harming the stability of that source of talent. Today, the federal government provides a legal work visa program for the agriculture sector, a legal work visa program for the high-tech sector, a small seasonal visa program that is used most often by landscapers and resorts for seasonal work. There is no program of legal work visas to cover the rest of the economy. Another element likely hurting the labor market is long COVID. I know I just experienced that myself personally. It's still in the early days, but several separate studies are bolstering the hypothesis that COVID was a mass disabling event. Folks whose jobs kept them out in the world, like essential workers, were far more likely to be impacted by this. We're looking at a large talent gap in the next 5 years, right as demand for solar is spiking. But don't despair.
All is not lost. We're going to walk you through the 5 tactics that we think can help you thrive in this new normal. Number 1, do more with less. 2, hold on to what you've got. 3, friends and family. 4, invest in the future. And 5, make onboarding faster and easier. Let's start with do more with less. This is actually an IronRidge company value. Sometimes it means being frugal, but in this case, it means enabling your current team to accomplish more important work in the same amount of time. This reduces the pressure on you to grow your team. One way to do that is to select products that are fast and easy to install correctly, even for inexperienced installers. This pays off in 2 ways. 1, you may be able to squeeze in 2 small jobs in a day, or at least begin that second job. The other benefit is that you won't have as many service calls after the fact. The boss splice that our designers came up with saves 3 steps in the process. It's tool-free, hardware-free, and structural, and that saves time. Another example, real quick, because we're not trying to share everything in our product catalog, is the J-Box. We watched hundreds of installations and located key areas where we could shave off minutes off the installation process, like not having to cut shingles and the capture screw on the lid, because chasing hardware down to the ground takes time. Another way to do more with less is to leverage online tools and applications in your work. Our free design assistant tool is available for pitched, flat, and ground mount applications and fully integrates with our partner solutions like Open Solar for producing proposals and Lyra and Green Lancer for automating your permit packs and engineering. Of course, there's many such tools out there besides those we've mentioned. And we're big fans of anything that can shorten the sales cycle, streamline the project management phase, and reduce the amount of time it takes to complete the work.
Hold on to what you've got. Employee retention is a key component to your success. The cost of a lost employee is considerable. SHRM, pronounced SHRM, says it translates to about 6 to 9 months of that person's salary. If you lose work because that person is in a key role, it can be even greater. If that person is well loved and respected by coworkers, they may even create a mini exodus. Who here has heard of Glassdoor? When was the last time you took a look at what your employees and former employees were saying about your company? A great way to check the health of your organization and see if you have any unrest bubbling up to the surface is to keep tabs on this site. Own your profile, check it regularly, and reply to any less than glowing responses with an invitation to contact someone at your organization directly to discuss it further. You can't delete the comments, but your willingness to connect and continue the conversation offline is better than simply ignoring it. You could be surprised what you learn from that site. A new Pew Research Center survey finds that low pay, A lack of opportunities for advancement and feeling disrespected at work are the top reasons why Americans quit their jobs last year. A deeper dive into the results showed that most employees who left were dissatisfied in 2 or more key areas. Now, we all understand the pressure on pay scale. If we could just magically wave a wand and pay everyone $1,000 an hour with no repercussions, that would be great. However, we do have control over the second and third reasons that people quit. Knowing that if you work hard, you'll get ahead in your career matters. I don't know about you all, but I have been in jobs where they pigeonholed me and wanted me to just kind of stay put year over year. But most people want to progress. This means more responsibility, more pay, more influence as to how the organization is run. Again, this says opportunity, not guarantee. So you don't have to promote everybody every year. If your people can see 1 or 2 people moving up the ranks each year, it communicates that it is possible to grow, and they need not go anywhere else to make something happen. I won't say that respecting your employees is free. There are some related expenses. For example, providing the safety equipment costs money. Investing in training and development takes time. Holding occasional parties and barbecues to build morale and team unity is extra. But compared to the cost of losing a good employee, it's nominal. One of the best ways to make your employees feel respected is to create a culture of care. That means being safety oriented, and not just because OSHA will destroy you if you don't. The health and well-being of every person on that team impacts everyone else. One thing I always stress is staying hydrated, avoiding sugary drinks, get your electrolytes in, and wear a neck cooler and eye protection. I'm all over them about this. Sure, they might think I'm being overprotective, parental, if you will, but it communicates to them that they are important to me and I want them to be safe and healthy. That's a human being with a family and maybe kids, depending on them. I'm sure we can all remember bosses that treat us like another cog in the machine. That feels awful. I'm curious, what do some of your companies do to make employees feel respected? Drop that into the chat when you guys get a chance, and we'd like to hear from you. Friends and family. We've seen a great success for companies that implement a formal referral program. Headhunting fees, if you will. At IronRidge, we'll pay $1,000 for a new employee referral once they pass their 90-day probationary period anyway, because we know that birds of a feather flock together. If you had vetted that person and found them to be of high character and dependable and a cultural fit for your organization, it's likely that person has friends or family of a similar ilk.
A few years ago, we started to hear about the solar labor shortage a lot. We even experienced it ourselves when we were hiring. And we knew that it had to be tough for growing solar companies to keep expanding when candidates show up with zero solar experience, and in some cases, no skilled trade experience at all. Here's a list of the most significant challenges to hiring that organizations face. We noticed that several of those could be addressed with better training for the solar industry. And if we were able to provide high quality, free training, it would mean our installers could hire for the soft skills. Is that person a good communicator? Are they reliable? Do they motivate and energize their colleagues? Those are the things that are nearly impossible to imbue in someone. But if they possess a learner's mindset and are hardworking, we can help with the technical expertise. We crafted a free certified installer program comprised of online courses and tests and hands-on skills assessments. Our first course was for pitched roof, comp shingle, and so far over 2,500 installers and future installers have begun this journey. We were as agnostic as possible, given that we're using our own products in the video, but we're not selling them. We comment on the fact that by learning about this system, they should be able to carry over that knowledge no matter what products the employer selects. It's being used to move roofers and other skilled tradespersons into solar by reducing the learning curve. Our tile course has been launched, and we invite you to check that out as well. And these are also available in Spanish language. Once we had our curriculum in place, we began to build a network of solar schools, community colleges, workforce development partners, the Carpenters Union, the IBEW, and distributor branches across the US where we can host hands-on skills assessments. Thanks to this large and growing cadre of training venues, we hope to introduce thousands of new qualified solar installers into the marketplace each year. We know that we can't hit that 3 million number you saw earlier on our own, but we're trying to do our part so that IronRidge customers can more readily locate IronRidge trained installers. Here's an example of someone posting their credential on LinkedIn. They took our pitched roof comp shingle course on HeatSpring, which is also available on, and they're now notifying their network that they're trained and ready to go. When it comes to investing in the future of solar, it's key to reframe your perspective to embrace greater diversity as well. Women now can comprise 26% of all solar jobs, but only 6% of installers. If you're looking to grow your talent pool, there is no reason to eliminate half the population out of hand. There's a great session at RE Plus that I attended on women in solar. This is Deb Tiwa that you see on the screen, who's a great solar trainer. And I recommend that you find out more about the work that she's done. And I love the quote by Abby Ross Hopper saying, "Muscles are not the prerequisite. Brains and work ethic are the prerequisites."
Good stuff.
Did you know that nearly a quarter of solar installers speak English as a second language? The largest group of non-native installers speak Spanish, and a lot can be lost in translation when you're talking about technical issues, product jargon, and nuanced processes. We knew that if we could provide quality free training in Spanish, we could unlock a large untapped source of labor for solar installers as well. You'll find that we offer the course on comp shingle and tile in Spanish to accommodate these current and future installers.
All right, workforce development. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. What motivated me to get out and get into solar and renewable energy in the first place. I've worked with numerous workforce development organizations throughout my career to increase access to this career path to underprivileged youth in urban areas. I've also worked with returning citizens from military and ex-offenders. It's just been a real thrill for me. That's why I got into solar in the beginning. I'd like to share a quick story about one of those individuals that I'm really proud, and every time I think about him and I talk to him, it just puts a smile on my face. His name is Deshaun. Deshaun had been incarcerated twice before his 20th birthday for selling controlled substances. He did a total of 5 years before his 20th birthday. He gets released and attended one of our solar workforce development programs in Philly. Landed a job right away, with a local solar company, and started as a junior installer. That was 2 years ago. In a jealous argument, he was shot 7 times. Same time, all 7 shots hit precious parts of his body, but he survived it. Once he was out of the hospital after about 6 months or so, he went right back to work, even with a rod in his leg. With prevailing wage, Deshaun has been making an average of $45 an hour. He called me the other day and told me he just signed a lease on a house, he's bought a car, and they've offered him a lead installer position with a salary. It's such a rewarding feeling, and I'm so proud of Deshaun, and I look forward to continuing this with IronRidge as we take our program around the country.
So our last recommendation today is brought to us by the tenet, accepting the things we cannot change. If a tight labor market and turnover are the realities we face, then we can mitigate that by taking a few steps, and IronRidge can help. One of the ways we can help our installers is by offering bespoke certification trainings. If you have a crew of a dozen or more, we'll work with you to guide them through the online training and then schedule a hands-on, on-site skills assessment. Some of our customers have woven that into a full-day team retreat. You can do this on an area training roof or a customer location if there's a good project on the books that lends itself to this approach. And our team of trainers have a lot of experience and are skilled at coaching at all skill levels, from brand new to seasoned veterans. Another solution we can offer is called virtual certification. Let's say that you have a crew of 9 people who have been trained and certified and are off and running, and you then hire a new person. You can have them tag along and learn as they go, but I'm sure we've all seen how that approach can be time-consuming, impact everyone else on the team, and allow for variances in the approach. We have a way to put a consistent crew lead in the pocket of everyone on your team. It's so important to have a standard method of installation as well as a shared vocabulary. Making sure something as simple as everyone calling the parts and processes by the same name can streamline work. Crew leads can focus more on getting jobs done than splitting their attention between training and actual work. The way virtual certification works is once your employee has successfully passed the test for the online course, they can complete their certification while on the roof, installing actual projects. They simply hand their phone to a colleague who records them performing one of the critical tasks. The platform shows them an example of what they should be doing, and then they recreate the install process with their own video. In this example, the placement and attachment of MLPEs. They upload that video to the platform right from their phone, and one of our field trainers reviews it and either accepts or rejects the assignment. They'll provide notes as well as further to improve the future install skills. And once all the virtual certification assignments are completed and accepted, that employee becomes fully certified by IronRidge. So another way to make onboarding faster and easier is to build a talent pipeline to potentially or fully train job seekers. And I'm sure many of you have placed a Craigslist ad like you see, or responded to one, but we can agree it's probably not the best user experience for vetting people. Indeed is a step up from Craigslist, but not quite fit for solar. So I'm going to turn this over to our friend and colleague, Sam Steyer, so he can share a platform that was built specifically for the renewable space.
You all are taking time out of your day to be here, so thank you very much. And huge thank you to IronRidge and Green Tech Renewables for having me on. I'm Sam Steyer, CEO of Greenwork. We're building software to help build up the skilled trades, which we see as the key to the clean energy transition. And so our core purpose is to help you get more projects built. And we do that by helping you hire more and build your team, and by helping you lean on local contractors as you're growing. We think that over the next 10 years, the acceleration in solar is going to just be incredible. With the support of the Inflation Reduction Act, with the continued decline in the cost of the equipment and improvement in the quality, and with increasingly people viewing renewable energy as mainstream and a better option than just relying on the utility, we think it's going to be an incredible decade, and we're going to all have to build up our installation capacity. And so we've built a software platform that really focuses on clean energy trades. We allow people to build profiles where they can verify their certifications and catalog their skills, and where they can show off their work and really lead with their on-the-roof experience, their specific hands-on experience with tools, those sorts of things. And we've built partnerships with over 75 trade schools. And we've been very proud to partner with IronRidge to support the schools that are providing the in-person portion of the ICP training, the awesome solar installer training that they've created. Our experience with trade schools and workforce development programs is folks who are finishing them are not, ready to be the crew lead or are not yet licensed electricians. It's not, I don't want to sell sort of where folks are coming from, but they are really a cut above the general job applicant because they've made a commitment to an education in the trades and stuck with it and finished. They've been in a construction environment before and put their hands on tools and understood the need for safety. And in our view, they've really proved that they have the long-term goal to be a tradesperson, to become a crew leader, become an electrician. And so we found companies have a lot of success partnering with these schools if they go in knowing that they're hiring for potential and commitment and attitude, even if a year of workforce development or 2 years of trade school isn't the same as someone being a certified licensed journey person. And we're software engineers. Our goal is really to bring the people who are building the clean energy revolution together in one place to enable all sorts of different kinds of connections. We know that companies need to hire and individuals need to get jobs. Schools need to get jobs for their students, but they also are very eager to have their curriculum and their student experience be as close to reality as possible. So we've seen schools invite companies to come do trainings in person. We've seen schools, just do informational calls with companies to make sure they understand what's really needed in the field. And then we also increasingly see companies using Greenwork to connect with one another. As solar companies are growing into new geographies, as product companies are bringing new products to market, they need to connect with top contractors like many of the folks on this call. And so it wasn't how we initially started, but increasingly we've seen Greenwork be a way that solar companies in the solar industry connect with each other in order to subcontract or partner in other ways. As I mentioned briefly, we are just huge fans of the training that IronRidge has created. We've spent a lot of time thinking about online solar training and training for installers. And one of the things we really believe is it can't be all virtual. That learning information and skills virtually is an incredible complement to an in-person training where you can learn sort of the textbook material online and then go out in the field and get your hands on the equipment. But we've also found that a purely online experience is not sufficient. And so I think that what IronRidge has done, combining online learning with trade schools across the country, combining online learning with a way that junior employees can learn on the roof and document their learnings is incredible. And we've been partnering with them to help folks who graduate from those programs find jobs. We're also focused on building a profile for a solar contractor that captures everything they do and puts their best foot forward better than anywhere else on the internet. We spend a lot of time cataloging what types of work contractors have done, what licenses they hold, their service territory, allowing them to show pictures of their work and generally put their best foot forward. And we think that's really important because there's going to be so much growth in solar, and as an industry, we have such an interest in driving work and employees and the industry towards high quality contractors. We think are just a great representative for us all. And so what we're working on now is helping developers and product companies and larger contractors find other contractors to partner with. We've been really happy with the way that companies have used Greenwork to connect with other companies, and we want to create sort of a digital showroom over time where if you're running a contracting business, you can see products you could be including in your repertoire. You can see other companies that are looking to expand into your area and find more business. And so for those of you who are solar contractors, we'd love to talk. We encourage you to go to joingreenwork.com and sign up on the landing page. We're really building as many digital tools as we can to support you in your growth and your install capacity. And then the other thing that we candidly are still figuring out in real time is how does the solar industry react to the huge changes and opportunities that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to introduce? As you all already know, the Inflation Reduction Act extends the ITC back at 30% and adds a number of 10% adders to make the incentive even more compelling. It also imposes new requirements around apprenticeship and prevailing wage for projects over 1 megawatt, and California state legislation is proposing to bring some of those changes down to smaller systems on multifamily and commercial. And given our focus on training and on connecting with subcontractors, we are really trying to understand how we can help solar companies make sure they're in compliance and get the full value of the ITC once the new rules go into effect on January 30th. And so if you're also thinking through your strategy around the Inflation Reduction Act, please also sign up at joingreenwork.com, and we'll be extremely happy to talk through it with you and offer free advice, and you can help inform the products that we're building to help people comply and track that compliance in an easy way. This slide is really touching on the same thing. Basically, we know the IRA is going to be a big deal and everyone's figuring it out, and we'd love to talk if you're thinking through your strategy. So I mentioned our website is joingreenwork.com, and you can sign up. My personal email is sam@joingreenwork.com. We are building all these tools for solar contractors because we want to help you grow. So please don't be shy. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to email me if anything that we're doing might be useful to your business.
Thank you, Sam. So it's no secret that today's shortage of skilled labor is affecting many industries, and the solar PV sector is no exception. Our mission at IronRidge is to make solar stronger through a multifaceted approach, through the engineering of innovative products, the dedication of useful online training tools, by providing hands-on experience certification programs for installers, and by partnering with like-minded organizations that are creating practical solutions to this problem. We want to leave time for questions and ideas, and I'm sure many of you have developed tactics to mitigate this problem, and we think that we can all learn from each other.
Thank you so much, Sue, Spencer, and Sam, for this great, very valuable content and overview. As we said at the outset, everyone, please interact with the GoToWebinar question section here to submit your questions to this esteemed panel. Thank you. Angie, may we turn to you to share some of the questions you're seeing?
I'm not seeing any questions. You guys were so thorough in your presentation. I will invite you. You see the 2 emails before you. If anything comes up after we've closed this out for the day, please do. Oh, here we go. Just a comment. No idea. Yes. So we launched the ICP program last year, and we've had, I think, just over 270 installers reach full certification status for the pitched roof comp shingle course. Over 3,000 people have taken the online portion. And what we're learning is that even if you aren't an installer, even if you're just adjacent to that, it is helpful to understand, the typical day in the life of somebody. And again, it's free for anybody. Question here, looking for a copy of the webinar. I will assume a recording will be going out to you, so you'll be able to get the deck then. There is no cost to take the online course. We don't charge for the hands-on either. We want to make sure that we are setting, as many new, well-trained people into the space as possible. So we wanted to reduce any barriers to entry. Here's a question: have you surveyed the various markets for prevailing wages by skill? Oh, that's an interesting question, Ken. Is anyone on the call? Has anyone done
a little bit. The Treasury put out more detailed guidance on November 29th about how the prevailing wage and apprenticeship rules will work. And they basically said that they're going to host, that it's federal prevailing wage. The federal government is going to determine prevailing wage, and they basically are putting up a website where you can go and see per trade, per state, what the prevailing wage is, or maybe per geography. And then they also essentially have an email address, like a .gov email address, where if there is either a missing figure, like there's no prevailing wage for journeyman laborers in a state, you can inquire, or if you have questions about which trade a specific job should be classified as, you can inquire. So there, I don't know if it's live yet or not, but in the Treasury comment that they put out on November 29th, they added a link to a website that's going to be sort of the place.
Thanks for that. Great answer. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for your time. We've gotten to all the questions. Again, these are the emails to reach out to us if something occurs to you afterwards. Have a great day.
Thank
Thanks,
you all.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.